Hey guys, creator mom. Still have my jammies on. Anyhow, I wanted to talk about this movie that I just watched. It was actually like it was kind of like one of those low budgety type films, but it wasn't that bad. Like in terms of filming, um, the storyline was a little bit was I don't know was a little bit crazy. I don't know. Some things were just a little bit unbelievable, but overall, I just was trying to think, like, what did I get from the movie? Basically, it was about this girl who had an abusive father, like verbally abusive, kind of, and physically abusive, emotionally, and all that jazz. And she goes on this. I don't know if she's running away from her father or uncle, whoever this character is, who's beating her up in the beginning of the movie, but I don't know if she's running away or going on or just going on a simple camping trip with her boyfriend. Anyhow, she's on a trip with her boyfriend. They're in the woods, and he goes off and tries to look for a creek to get water or something, and she stays in the tent, but she realizes that he took her phone. And anyways, she screams out for him. He never comes back to the tent, excuse me, for like the whole night, which is so weird. And then in the day, she's like looking for him. Like, she's just things like that. This, like, just don't really make sense. But anyway, she's walking in the woods, like, looking for him. She stumbles upon this house in the woods. And this guy, he answers, and he's like, oh, come in. And what's happening is he's totally assuming he has mental illness. Like, he's mentally sick. And he assumes that this is his daughter. And he was mentally sick even before when his daughter was there. He had a daughter and a wife. And he is, like, mentally ill, just very controlling and just fucked up in the head. And, so he tells this girl, come in, and he basically, like, forces her to stay there. And he projects onto her that this is his daughter who had left. She got away. So he's pretending, but in his mind, this girl who shows up at his door is his long lost daughter. So he makes, he's treating her like this, and he puts her in the basement, and he goes, you're gonna run on the treadmill. He starts acting like he's gonna train her. I guess that's what he used to try to do with his daughter too. Oh, running on the treadmill, doing sit-ups, eating healthy. It's just, like, really bizarre. It's bizarre. It's a bizarre movie, and bizarre guy. I'm sure this person exists somewhere out there. So, yeah, so then at first she really resists it. She's like, no, forget you. She kind of tries to escape a couple of times in really dumb ways. I think that she, soon she catches the drift that, you kind of get Stockholm syndrome-ish, or you have to kind of no, there's another word. You have to play along, right? You have to play along with the person's delusion, just to get along and think about what your next move is gonna be. So she's playing along, like she's calling him daddy and everything like that, and then he starts, I guess because she's playing along, he starts kind of gaining more trust, and he starts, like, training her outside, and he's like, okay, you're gonna run, like, these laps. And they show this part where she tries to escape, but I thought she was gonna try to climb the fence, bro. She started, like, hitting the chains on the fence with rocks. I'm like, what? Like, why? Like, you're gonna hit the chain with rocks for what, like 5 seconds before he, like, runs over to you and tells you to stop? Like, what the hell? So that was another thing that didn't really even make sense. And I'm watching the movie, and I'm thinking, okay, this is good. Like, she's going going along with it. It's going to work out for her benefit because he's training her. He's making her do, like, hundreds of sit-ups and making her run, and he is feeding her. So I'm like, he's kind of, like, helping her build her strength, if you will. But what happens is that she just kind of gets, like, I guess, Stockholm syndrome in a way, and she just ends up staying. And actually, almost by the end of the movie, she's kind of like the one in control in a way. Like, she lost her fear of him and actually began to kind of like, I don't know, maybe enjoy his programming. And, you know, she almost, like I said, and by the end, she was kind of like in control because she was like, oh, Daddy, I want to go out driving. Give me the keys. And he gave them to her. And she could have gotten in that car and drove off. But she didn't. She waited for him to get in the car, which signified that she wanted to stay. And actually, at the end of the movie, the daughter, his real daughter, ends up coming back. So what happens is he's like, you could tell that like they had like formed this trusting relationship, which in my mind, as the viewer of the movie, I'm thinking, okay, this is fake. She's just building trust with this dude, so eventually that she can run away. Maybe that was her plan at first, but her mind ended up conforming, and it made me think about how about survival mode, and about how like I think we have this scary, almost scary sometimes, ability as humans to conform and get along and survive in situations that are not good, that are unhealthy, that are abusive. And then we just kind of like stay there. And I'm like, okay, like we're finding the good here. We're finding the best here. We're looking at the positive, and it's all good. Like, oh, I'll just stay. Like, I got a roof over my head. This guy, he's fucking crazy, but he cares about me in this twisted ass way. And I've got food, and, you know, that's kind of like where my mind went into like how where do we draw the line with our survival skills? You know, it's like, well, for her, it just bled into being like, well, fuck. This is good, actually. It was so good that when the real daughter came back, he had went out. What happened was, it was her birthday, and he had went out. He was like, I'm going to go get cake, which was unheard of because he would never leave her alone upstairs in the house without the door locked. He would keep her like locked in her room or in a basement. But like I said, she had formed that trust with him where he just left in his car and went to go get cake. And the movie shows her going outside and like for a run, but you think, oh, maybe she's actually going to run away. And then what happens is when he gets back with the cake, the other daughter actually is standing at the doorstep, and he's so fucking mentally ill that he can't tell the difference between the two. He just thinks like, oh yeah, that's my daughter. And she's thinking, what's wrong? Like, isn't he gonna ask me like where I've been? No, because he's had a replacement for you the whole time. Little do you even know, somebody who's like held hostage. So then she goes in the house, blah, blah, blah. And I guess this girl is still out for like a run. She wasn't even supposed to go on a run because it was Sunday. And he's like, no, Sunday is a day you rest. Anyways, so the girl, the real daughter's like in her bedroom, and she's looking at her journal, realizing that somebody has kept writing in her journal, in her handwriting and everything like that. And she's like, oh, this is weird. Then the fake daughter, the hostage daughter, let's call her, walks in, and you think at first that she's going to be like, oh my God, I've been stuck hostage here. Find some relatability with the real daughter. Like, I've been stuck hostage here. Like, help me get the fuck out of here. No. Instead, she goes, yeah, I'm you now. I'm you. And I even beat your lap, because he would time her when she would do laps. She's like, I even beat your number, your time. And then she ends up like stabbing her, like killing her or whatever, killing the real daughter because she desperately wants to remain the daughter, which was completely ridiculous, I guess. But I guess she didn't want the father to see both of them, maybe in fear that he would choose his real daughter, you know, over her, and she just couldn't lose that. So she went from like one dysfunction straight into another, which made me think too that, you know, we can do that in relationships. We have one relationship where, you know, maybe we're getting the shit beat out of us, and then we go into another relationship where hey, this person's actually like providing for me and treating me well, but actually this is twisted also. It's controlling, you know, and manipulative. So those are the things that this movie made me think. It also made me think of something else too, like, which is a little bit more personal, like my mother's personal information, but just how like people can, you grow up with somebody who does something perverted to you, and then as you get older, you don't drift away from that person and try to get away from them. You actually continue to go around that person and bring your children around them. And so things like that don't make sense, they're kind of like Stockholmish, you know? So yeah, this movie really brought up a lot of those ideas for me. And yeah, so she ended up staying and being this guy's daughter, and she found that this was a good life for her, and just like, it was kind of fucked up. Like in the end, you saw that she just got even more kind of messed up, you know, than she already was. And I guess this guy's like control and provision maybe made her feel safe, maybe made her feel secure, something she had never felt with the other father who just beat her around and told her to clean the kitchen. This guy told her what to do, but he also served her with a lot of things and provided everything. It just really makes you think. It really makes you just think. All right, I think that's all I have to say about my analysis of this movie. What is the movie called? Captive. Yeah, it's just some like off-brand, or it's not like a big movie. It's like one of those YouTube movies, but yeah, it's called Captive. And I don't really recommend it, but hey, if that's, you know, watch at your own discretion. All right, everyone, have a great Saturday.